This week on Beacon Web News, Robert Wehry has all the happenings for Valentine's Day weekend. Mei Craig sat down with biology professor Jerry Smosky as he celebrates teaching at MCLA for 50 years.
Fell in love with biology when I first took it.
And Cara Fusco gives us all the updates on the BT parking lot. That's all coming up next on Beacon Web News. Hello and welcome to the February 12th episode of Beacon Web News. I'm Kehr. Are you ready to get your school spirit on? Starting on February 14th, MCLA will be starting Spirit Friday, so don't forget to show your Trailblazer pride and support by wearing MCLA colors or your favorite MCLA t-shirt every Friday. In the spirit of Valentine's Day and Black History Month, the African Student Association will be hosting a spoken word poetry night at Gallery 51, February 14th from 7 to 9 p.m. The Gaming Alliance is hosting a Pokemon Go event to battle your friends in Sullivan Lounge on February 13th from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Pizza and snacks will be provided. On this week's episode of Wehry Weekly Entertainment News, Robert Wehry discusses the special events going on for Valentine's Day, including North Adams Winterfest and a saxophonist playing at Mass MoCA. Over to you, Robert.
Thanks, Sim. Welcome to this week's episode of Wehry Weekly Entertainment News. Valentine's Day and President's Day are both happening this week. As a result, there are many unique events going on in North Adams over the 3-day break. First, the much anticipated North Adams Winterfest will be taking place. This annual winter gathering allows residents of North Adams to come out and celebrate wintertime and is one of the town's most popular events. Some of this year's featured activities include an ice carving contest, artisan market, chowder cook-off, horse-drawn wagon rides, and ice skating, just to name a few. This is an excellent opportunity to get out in the North Adams community. The North Adams Winterfest will be taking place on Saturday, February 15th. It will run from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. throughout downtown North Adams. Please note that parking will be limited. Next, Jaleel Shaw and his band will be performing at Mass MoCA. Jaleel is a saxophonist and band leader, known for his ability to bring his hometown of Philadelphia into his music. His most recent album, Soundtrack of Things to Come, came out in 2013. Jaleel Shaw will be performing at Club B10 at Mass MoCA on Saturday, February 15th. The concert is scheduled to begin approximately at 8 p.m. Student tickets for the concert are $15. Visit massmoca.org to purchase your tickets ahead of time. Finally, the major movie debuting at the North Adams Movieplex this week is The Photograph. This romantic dramedy tells the story of a woman attempting to recover from her mother's unexpected death, which leads her into romantic adventures. This is a great date night movie for Valentine's Day weekend. The Photograph stars Issa Rae, Lakeith Stanfield, Chelsea Peretti, and Kingsley Ben-Adir, and is directed by Stella Meggy. The Photograph is scheduled to open on Friday, February 14th. Times for this movie have not yet been finalized. Visit the Movieplex's website for all future times. This movie is rated PG-13 for brief sexual scenes and some language. That ends this week's episode of Wehry Weekly Entertainment News. I'll be back every week to discuss the many concerts, art exhibits, movies, and more going on in North Adams and surrounding towns. Back over to you, Sim.
If you want to cheer on your MCLA Trailblazers for an afternoon of basketball, then go to the men's basketball game on Saturday, February 15th at 1 p.m. in the Amsler Campus Center gym. The team will be going head-to-head against Worcester. The women's game is right after at 3:30 p.m. and they also play Worcester. On Saturday, February 16th from 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., join Norman Rockwell Museum in their Rockwell Gallery Talks, which is located at 9 Glendale Road, Stockbridge, Mass. Friday meal plan. Starting February 21st, on every Friday, Airmark will be serving lunch for $6 in the Centennial Room from 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Now's your chance to show your favorite YouTube video with an event hosted by the Free Library. You must have a video submitted by February 21st. For more information on how to submit, go to mcla.edu/library. On Saturday, TEDx was in the Berkshires, and Beacon Features editor Lise Mansoret was there.
Over the weekend, TEDx North Adams made their third visit to North Adams, this year presenting 9 different speakers. We had the opportunity to speak with Aaron Oster, who is the co-founder of AOK Barbecue, located in North Adams. His talk highlighted hospitality and how a meal made with love can bring people together. Oster grew up in a Jewish household where food was a big part of how his family communicated and was made with love. He wanted to bring these same positive experiences into his own restaurant. To ensure this, he hired people who didn't need to have experience, but just needed to be likable and friendly. They figured if they pulled enough people together who liked one another, then it would be their responsibility to teach them how to cook, Oster said. Oster found it important to eliminate rules of hierarchy that are commonly found within the restaurant business, and instead worked on being a team. Instead of creating a divide between the front of house and the back of house, he decided that everyone was going to be paid the same amount and equally divide up the workload. Oster found communication to be essential to operating a healthy business between staff members, but also between staff and customers. He said he wanted people to have that connection where they felt connected. He compared hospitality to a lost art. Even simple things such as smiling at people, looking them in the eye are important. From Beacon for Beacon Web News, I'm Lise Mansoret.
MCLA's annual Student Leadership Conference is fast approaching. This year marks the 25th edition of the event and will be taking place on Saturday, February 22nd from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. To register, go to mcla.edu/student_life and click on the Service Leadership tab. The registration fee has been waived for all MCLA students. MCLA is presenting its annual Global Film Series. The first film being shown is The Last Black Man in San Francisco. This award-winning film tells the story of a young African-American man trying to reclaim his childhood home in San Francisco. It will be shown on Monday, February 24th at 6 p.m. in the Sullivan Lounge. On Tuesday, February 25th, Holyoke Mayor and congressional candidate Alex Morris will be hosting an organizing summit for his bid for Congress. At this event, Alex will be discussing his goals for the 2020 election, and you will get the opportunity to meet fellow volunteers. The event will take place from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. The men's basketball team has an overall record of 14-7, and BWN's reporter Cara Fusco was able to ask what has made this season one of the best in recent years.
The basketball team had their first loss of the season in the conference this past weekend while playing Bridgewater State. The game resulted in a score of 78-67, causing MCLA to fall to 6-1 in the conference. While still suffering their first loss, the basketball team is ready to continue their season and keep up their winnings.
I think one of the best parts for me and the most enjoyable parts of this year's team is that we get contributions from a lot of different people. I think overall the team, we have depth on the roster, which we haven't had in recent years. I think, the previous game we played Westfield, that was the overtime game that Quentin hit the shot at the buzzer. So I think it's pretty natural for us to have a letdown after that. The loss that you're talking about was against Bridgewater. And I mean, they're a real good team. We came out kind of flat that day. Bridgewater capitalized, and it's a tough matchup for us. So
we love to compete. We love to get out and run. Our weaknesses is like sometimes we struggle getting back on transition with defense, but that's something we'll definitely work on, especially once playoffs come in. One thing I want to say is thank you for the support. We always needed it. We love when the fans just come out and show us love, and that's from all the sports teams, even the local staff, the community. We love it. It just makes us even play harder and better.
the end all is always being to say that you've played your best basketball towards the end of the season. So, we had that nice winning streak. We've had a couple hiccups along the way, so we've got to sort of readjust, and hopefully we can continue on our upward trend as the playoffs start in a couple weeks.
The Boston Bruins are hosting their 13th annual Pajama Drive from now until March 15th. If you would like to help make sure every child in Massachusetts has pajamas, you can drop off sizes ranging from babies to children to teens at the MCLA Freel Library. On February 26th, the literary magazine Spires will be accepting its 2020 Open Spring submissions. Anyone can submit pieces ranging from creative writing to fiction writing, visual art, photography, graphic design, poetry and lyrical essays, and more. Written work must be submitted as a Word document, and images and graphics must be high resolution. Submit to spires@mcla.edu by March 8, 2020. All submissions will be reviewed anonymously and considered for publication for the 2020 journal. At November's Giving Thanks reception, MCLA honored many faculty and staff who have been here 5 years or more. But one name stood alone, Professor of Biology Dr. Jerry Smosky, who has been teaching at MCLA for 50 years. BWN's Mei Craig heard some fun stories from him and his colleagues as they reminisced about his time here.
Dr. Jerry Smosky has been a biology professor here at MCLA since 1969.
Yes, I've loved bio since college. I fell in love with biology when I first took it. And I said, oh, it's interesting. I liked it. And biology, just a lot of courses, a lot of areas were of interest. And I just followed my interest and my heart, you might say. Grew up on Long Island. Okay, I've got a sister and a brother, and that's where I went. And then I went to school as an undergraduate to Appalachian State University, North Carolina. I got my PhD at the University of South Carolina. Then I came here. I've had, I got my kids, my daughter and my son, and I got my grandchildren.
Jerry and I have been working together. We've both been department chairs. And I watched him over the years when they had a lot of brand new faculty over there, and he was the only senior person. And he has led the development of the sciences as it is today.
Actually liked it. I liked small school. I've always loved the students. That's what makes me tick, if you will. Students have been fantastic. I have a good time. I try to get as many laughs.
He was a well-respected professor, a very talented man in the sciences, and a great colleague. It's nice to have that. That was a sense of camaraderie we had years ago. A lot of people that got together, and here we are all this time later.
Smosky said he stayed at MCLA because he enjoys working with the students.
Students at MCLA have been overwhelmingly fun to be with. You know why? Because they generally are open-minded. They can discuss controversial issues. And to me, that's one thing that college should be, a chance to discuss different sides of controversial issues.
Definitely been a huge factor in the department. He's been the chair of the department previously. And he's been a colleague for many of us since we started, so he's been a mentor as some of us have come up in our careers.
My final question for Smosky is when he plans to retire.
I don't know.
You don't know when you're going to...
Absolutely not. I have no plan. I get up every day. I love what I'm doing, and it gives me a feeling of purpose, and I get to see my kids and my grandchildren, all the time. And I can't go tomorrow because I got school on Monday. But, I got summers, all this time to see them, and I feel like I'm still contributing, and I think it's a balance. And I'm just going to keep going till I wake up one day and go, what the hell am I doing? And I'll leave.
For Beacon Web News, I'm Mei Craig.
And here are your top stories from the latest edition of the Beacon. The Parlor Cafe recently received their liquor license. Customers of legal drinking age can now enjoy wine or beer. Award-winning photographer and Emmy-nominated filmmaker John Stanmeyer gave a lecture on February 10th about conflict prevention and resolution for the MCLA community. The North Adams Artist Impact Coalition will be having their quarterly North Berkshire Artist Meetup, a chance for artists to come together to build connections, identify issues that artists may experience, and discuss opportunities or resolutions available. This event will be on Tuesday, February 18th at 7 p.m. High-Low in North Adams will be hosting a comedy booked open mic event on Wednesday, February 19th at 8 p.m. Performers must sign up beforehand. For more information on any of these stories, you can pick up your copy of The Beacon at many locations around campus or visit www.theonlinebeacon.com. On January 24, 2018, a North Adams man, Mark Steele Nudslin, murdered his transgender wife, Krista Lee Steele Nudslin, by stabbing her and hitting her with a hammer. Steele Nudslin changed his plea to guilty in Berkshire Superior Court on January 23, 2020, and has been sentenced to life in prison with a possibility of parole in 25 years. Starting February 23rd, Massachusetts drivers will be hands-free. The law will prohibit drivers from using electronic devices, including cell phones, unless in hands-free mode. Fines can be up to $500. For more information, go to www.mass.gov/handsfree. Some parking spots in the Berkshire Towers parking lot have been closed off due to damage to the wall. Cara Fusco has more information on what is being done about this problem.
Commuters have been recently frustrated due to the parking situation at Berkshire Towers parking lot. Lawrence Behan tells us more about what administration will do to fix the problem.
As you know, there's a retaining wall that kind of lines the parking lot up there, and behind that is a very steep and enlarged hill that the wall kind of helps support. It was about, I want to say maybe 7-8 months ago, we noticed that there was some deterioration of that wall, and then it actually started to crumble. So some of the large boulders fell out and kind of were spilling into the parking lot. This is primarily due to last winter we had some significant snowfall. There was a lot of rain in the springtime, so it kind of compromised some of the hill and some of the rock wall there.
Last semester, since there was parking spots blocked off or possibly residents parking in the parking lot and not being ticketed, there was never any room in that parking lot. And it's honestly a really tight squeeze. All those cars are really close together, and I've almost hit cars before in that parking lot.
So what we've been trying to do is trying to contain it as much as possible. It took us a while to get some quotes on repair because it is a relatively smaller job when you approach contractors who do that type of masonry and construction work. This is a small job, and they really don't. It's kind of on the bottom of their list. So it took us many, many months to at least get some quotes to assess what it would cost. For a permanent repair for that, upwards of $100,000.
Administration's active plan is to continue to try to contain it and keep some parking spots blocked off so no one will park there. Students should expect a permanent repair when dry weather comes and the new school year begins.
If you're interested in a career in art therapy, there will be a panel featuring alumni who are currently working in the field on February 20th from 6 to 7 p.m. in Bowman Hall 203. There will be pizza, and the event is free and open to everyone. The 23rd Annual Winterfest celebration in downtown North Adams will be held on Saturday, February 15th, starting at 9 a.m. If you're interested in participating in this year's Chowder Cook-Off, applications can be obtained by contacting the Office of Tourism and Community Events at 413-664-6180. That's it for this week. To stay up to date with BWN, you can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/MCLABWN. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.